No, I would talk to Edge, and he would he would tell me that he didn't believe Vince McMahon believed people would remember the Brood, let alone myself. Like he's very like set on certain things. So he told me he had to work like 2.5 months to get the music, to be able to do a brood bath, not a blood bath, because the networks wouldn't have blood.
Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of SEScoops, and today I am joined by an absolute wrestling legend, Gangrel. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, minus a little bit of fangs right now. I feel a bit negative without my fangs, but I didn't want to creep you out with fangs at 11 in the morning.
I will say, though, you probably have the coolest setup I have ever seen, like via Zoom or just in general. You have a really cool studio, so I'm digging it.
Oh, yeah, it's the Static Vision Studios. I just finished up doing the Fang and the Bang It podcast. So, yeah. And then we'll do this deal here with you and then hit the gym and then go teach a class.
Of course, your schedule is absolutely crazy. You've been doing a lot in professional wrestling right now. Like you said, you got fanging and banging, you got training, you got everything in between, but you recently made your debut in Major League Wrestling as well in February against Gnarls Garvin. So how was that opportunity brought to you for MLW?
Wow, was it in February? Is that much time's gone by?
Yeah, about a month ago.
Oh, I still haven't even seen the match yet. All I know is, it's a bloody one. It's a little bit of a bloody one. Right? So, MSL, he hit me up and I've been talking to MLW. Last year, they were trying to get me to come in. It was an agenting type of thing in wrestling. Every year, I think I'm done with wrestling. Something drags me back in, but I was super busy with my schedule. But this year, we were able to get schedules to match up and everything. So I'm super happy to be aboard. Looking forward to going into WrestleMania weekend up there. MLW's in Gillies at Dallas on Thursday and a Friday. What is it? The 31st and the 1st, or the 30th and the 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aztec on the 1st. Yeah, really exciting times. Looking forward to it, and just ready to do some fanging and banging.
Of course. MLW teased that you would be coming soon. So what exactly can we expect from you going forward in Major League Wrestling?
Well, I've adapted my style. It's not so much like a lot of suplex and whatnot. I've become a pretty gnarly brawler. So I expect a lot of blood and guts. A lot of blood and guts coming.
I would expect nothing less from you. That's on brand too. I feel like too, though, I don't know if you're interested in going after a championship, or do you kind of just simply enjoy working with today's up and coming talent and showing fans that you can still go in the ring?
Well, as my records showed in the past, I don't think I've had too many championships in any major company. So that's not really my number one goal. But I do enjoy working with the young talent. And, most of that locker room I've crossed paths with in a ring at some time or another throughout their early points in their career and stuff like that. So it's some of the like I've trained Jacob Fatu. He was one of my students, so I trained him. And then I hear rumors Holly Dad's coming to MLW. I've trained her. So, and then plus I've just wrestled. I probably wrestled Alexander Hammerstone 30 times, probably easily 30 times. So, and many of the other guys in that locker room. So I enjoy bringing a bit of the old school, meeting the new school, and mixing it in the middle and seeing what we come up with,
Now, how would you describe this old school style versus new school style today? Like, what happens when it meets for you? Like, what is that moment like?
The key word is moments. There's no wasted moments. Right? There's no wasted moves to build to great moments. So, yeah. So they're so talented, so athletic, and they have so much athletic ability, right? And then they have also with the luchadors there and the international market that they're in right now, MLW. It's insane. So, like, I've traveled the world. I probably wrestled more in Europe than I have in the United States. And all honesty, when you start logging in matches, I've done 18 years in Europe. The last 18, except for these last 2 due to COVID, I've done 6 months out of the year over there. So if you add them up against the full-time schedule in the States, it's really close. And I think Europe might outweigh it, working 7 days a week there, twice a day sometimes. So with that, and then the time I spent in Puerto Rico and then in Calgary and whatnot. So many different styles. And so I love that MLW has that flavor and that little spark to it, that international flavor, and it is no one match is the same. You know, you watch it, you can watch other companies, and it's like the same match after the same match. But here, they're all different, and I'm really looking forward to adding my bit of hot sauce to that stew. You know,
I like that metaphor. Somehow you got to dip your fang in it a little bit.
I'm always dipping my fangs where they shouldn't be.
But you mentioned like that spark with MLW. Maybe it was that. Was it that spark that really interested you in MLW, or what about it really made it feel like a good fit for you personally?
It's the spark. It's the flavor of it. It's just that it's just that lure. I can sit down when I'm doing cardio, like a lot. That's when I watch wrestling. I can't sit still. I don't have enough time to sit down at home and watch wrestling. But when I do cardio, I always drift out of all the companies that you can go find out there. WWE, the AEW, there was Ring of Honor, there's Impact. I always drift to MLW. And I think it just has something about it, that flavor, and it's something that just draws me to it, that I just really enjoy that. I enjoyed watching that out of all the other companies. Now I'm going to enjoy being a part of that company, and hopefully I can add my own little bit of pizzazz and my own little spark to it, and make it a better way.
Of course, I would expect nothing less to. And I mean, even on your own podcast, Bangin' and Bangin', you mentioned that you have new entrance music featured in MLW, and it kind of has a different bit of a feel to it. So can you kind of describe it or tell us more about your new entrance music?
Well, I don't know much about it. I got to get it. I've been waiting for that match to air so I can get it back. I didn't want to call and bother him and say, hey, can you send me my entrance music? Okay. I really want to get a feel for it, because I really do, because it's a good point, because you know, the best part about entrance music, one time Steve Austin asked me, what do you like about the music I had with the Brood and stuff? I go, I could walk to it. He goes, that's the key thing. So you really want to become one with your entrance music. You really want to get that groove and that vibe and be able to vibe and gel with that coming out to get a feel. So like, I've still been waiting for the match air. I think it airs this week. I think it airs, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it so I can pull that up, listen to it, and then really get in tune with that.
Okay, yeah, because I know it's a bit different, obviously, than the Brood. I think
it threw me off when I came out. It just made me insane, and then I had this sickle, and then I just went crazy and started cutting people.
Did you feel that you could walk to it, or did you kind of have to have a different pep in your step, or a different groove?
To be honest, I couldn't hear the music over the people.
Okay, fair enough.
Like the people came up, they were so cool. So I was just gelling off their vibe. The people like, whoa, and then like, I just felt myself kind of like, I don't want to say floating down. I don't want to get religious or anything like that, but like, I just felt like, oh, whoa, I'm at the ring already. Oh, well, we're going now. So it was a really cool moment, and I'm just super happy to be a part of MLW.
Of course, we're super excited for it to air. If it airs this week, this will probably be out after it airs. So then we'll finally get to know. You'll probably have talked about it on Bangin' and Bangin'. So we look.
No, I haven't, because I don't know what the rules are, so I stay quiet.
Fair enough.
Better safe than sorry. I never assume anything. So
I respect that. I respect that. But I mean, of course, I think it's cool too that you were trained in Florida in the late 80s, coming up in like 87 around there. And now about 35 years later, it's kind of a full circle moment. You're training wrestlers in Florida, kind of in the same state that you trained. So what's it like for you to have your career come full circle like that in Florida?
Well, it's home. Florida's home, born and raised, so full circle back around. Well, when I was getting into wrestling, I didn't have a lot of money and whatnot, and there was course tuitions and things that go along with the school. And the people training me, I said, listen, I can't really afford this, and I was going to pull out of it and everything. And they said, we're gonna train you. Don't worry about it. We're gonna put you on the books as a trainer. Just always give back to professional wrestling. So I've just tried to stay true to my word, and I've always tried to continue on in some type of training somewhere, whether it was California with Knox Pro, which was a school I opened with Rikishi, or I had my own school for a while, GWA here. Now I'm with CCW, Coastal Championship Wrestling, and running their facility, which is so crazy busy. Like I'm there Monday through Thursday. It's crazy. And, doing private sessions. I'm doing one-on-ones, training Paige VanZant now. So it's just things are crazy. So I'm super, super busy, but it's an honor. I'm honored to be able to give back. It's a blessing. and I love pro wrestling. So anytime I get to do what I love, anytime I get to lace a pair of boots up or climb through some ropes and get into that ring, it's just a blessing, and I'm honored. And I might be nice and smiling now, but when I get in there, I'm gnarly and nasty. I'm even nastier as a trainer than I am as Gangrel the Vampire.
I mean, sometimes you gotta be. It's called tough love for a reason, right?
Wow, banging and banging.
Of course. Earlier too, we were talking about like new school and old school. Old school for you, of course. When that within the 35.
New scoops and old scoops.
True. I mean, it's true. But we were talking about like with being in this industry so long, I feel like you'd had to have seen a lot of change. So maybe what are some of the few differences in the wrestling community or just in general from when it was like back then and to today?
Well, one, the size of wrestlers have changed. But I don't know, MLW, you got Killer Cross there now. You got Alexander Hammerstone. You got some Jacob Fatu. You got some pretty big guys floating around MLW. Some pretty gnarly dudes too. I don't know the change. Just it's still wrestling. The object of it is to win a match. Pin somebody's shoulders to a 1, 2, 3. So still professional wrestling. I think characters. A lot of the characters. There was more. For lack of better words, heel or babyface, good guy or bad guy, you know what I mean? Like where now it's more like the fans kind of cheer who they want, this and that. But the MLW though, I feel that's another thing that I'm drawn to. There is a clear villain. There's a clear white hat, black hat, pick a side and ride it out. You know what I mean? So I like that a lot about MLW, but with a lot of wrestling in the sense that's changed. It's just like, everybody goes out there and does a million moves. There's a lot of wasted movements and stuff like that. So that's changed, but it's still pro wrestling. You still try to pin somebody, get your hand raised for victory and all that. But we'll see what's going to go on some more.
Of course, too. And I mean, looking back, is there anything in particular from the wrestling world from your initial era that you maybe think is missing from today?
The magic. Everybody knows the tricks now. Mrs. Magic made a difference. Everybody wants to believe in something. They want to believe. So I think wrestlers' believability, which and I'm not here to feels like I'm plugging MLW, but Killer Cross, I believe that Killer Cross could kill somebody, Alexander Hammerstone, I believe that he could pick anybody up and give him the pendulum, Jacob Fatu, I believe is a savage. I trained him, so I know he's a savage. I know if you get on the bad side of him, it can go all kinds of sideways. This magic, the mystique, the mystery of a pro wrestler is what I think is missing. MLW is touching base on that and trying to, I think, dial that back in, but that's really missing in professional wrestling overall.
Fair enough. And I feel like it's kind of hard to describe or maintain those moments of magic. Like the allure, the kayfabe is broken a lot, as they say.
I know you have a show and it's called Scoops, but yeah, with the internet and the social media, you can't really pull the wool over anybody's eyes. Yeah. It's super, super hard. But one person can make you believe that they're one bad mofo, right? So that one person can make you believe in him. And if that next one next to you and the guy across the ring makes you believe, it could be a chain reaction and everything. And you can slowly, at least you can get people to believe in you and your character, right? Even if they think they know what's going to happen and they can research it and go get spoiler alerts, but you can make them believe in you. And that's still magic.
Of course, too. And kind of conversely, on the opposite end of things, is there any aspect from today's climate that you maybe wish was integrated or present, say 20, 30 years ago?
Maybe more freedom of speech. When I broke in, it was eyes open, ears open, mouth shut. Where this generation, they have a lot more input in things. They're not afraid to put their thoughts out there and their personal things and their characters. Where back then it was just shut up, kid, or we're gonna break your legs, and you're gone tomorrow. That I hate to say it, but that hey brother system, that old school way where now it's more there's more open things to it and stuff. And where wrestling just in general is more, it's a wide open area now with more, you can take advantage of more things and more current stuff where it was just all black or white back then. And then I believe in a good guy and a bad guy, a heel and a face. I believe in that, and I truly believe in that. But I think there was still a whole spectrum of characters missing, people's individualities and the freedoms to be who they are and stuff like that.
Of course, you want that creative freedom, especially, and obviously it's varying whichever place you go. But I feel like that creative freedom is so important, especially where a character like yours is so driven and based like on your character work too. Of course,
Yeah.
in ring work too, but character work I feel like is really important too, especially for people like yourself.
Well, I was terrified to do the vampire thing. Like Luna kept telling me, no, it's okay. You can do it. I go, oh, no way. Because, I broke at 87. No vampires running around with fangs and stuff in the ring. They would like beat you up, They like, what was wrong with you, kid? Are you on drugs? I told you not to take that acid or whatever it is you're taking. But I did it slowly. And but then the times just kept changing. Like I came in at the late 80s, and then there was the 90s, and then things evolved, and then it is where it is today. Now they don't think twice about it. They go, yeah, a vampire. At least he doesn't sparkle. Like, oh, you're a Twilight fan, are you?
Honestly, I actually haven't seen Twilight.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel about it?
It's a love story. It's not really bad.
Fair enough. That's the real scoop the people were looking for today. But you mentioned obviously one of the wrestlers you've been training down at CCW being All Elite Wrestling's newcomer, Paige VanZant. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about her training and the process of how that all came together?
Well, I was super worried about it. I know that Dan Lambert and them were very particular about where she trained. She could have went anywhere, but because she's local in South Florida, it made a lot more sense to come here. And I think because I was trained by Boris Malenko, he's a fan of the old school training and the foundations and stuff like that. And with training Rusev or Miro and Jacob and some of the other people, I think they felt comfortable coming there. I was a little worried, but she's tremendous. Like she's really, I think AEW is probably onto something there, and they're going to have a really good star in their future because I've trained a lot of people, and she's so coachable. I don't know if it's from, the Dancing with the Stars. That can't be possibly easy. There's a lot of discipline. She was a gymnast, a ballerina, and plus she's a fighter, right? She's a bare knuckle fighter, boxer, and MMA, right? Mixed martial art. So she has all this background. So, and to come over pro wrestling, that could be a very hard transition because it is smoke and mirrors. It's pro wrestling entertainment or whatever, however you want to look at it. It's stuff like that. It's not like we're going to go out and just kill somebody. Like, you got to work together. And I was a little worried, but what she's learned in like 3 hours is taking me 3 months to 6 months to teach other people. Wow. That's how quick she's learning. That's how amazing she is. And her attitude's really, really good about it. She's not coming in and like, I get a little worried when outsiders come in and they kind of take a crap on our business. You know what I mean? Like, well, whatever. Not a bad attitude at all. Just a golden attitude. And I think she's going to be something in the future. I think she's got a future for wrestling.
I definitely think so too. She's been killing it so far on AEW. And I'm very curious too, with that background, just in general, like as an MMA fighter, do you feel like there's anything specific that you have had to tweak based on her MMA experience so it would fit into pro wrestling, if that makes sense?
Well, we're very early into the starting training. I don't know where they're going with AEW. I think she'll be hot shot into some kind of match, but she wants to be actually trained properly on the backside for a future in wrestling. So I think they're going to hot shot an angle, but I think she wants to be long-term and wrestle. So she's learning the proper way. I haven't had to change anything yet. She tends to have a fighter stance, but it works for her. What I've learned about when you're training somebody, you don't try to change who they are or what they've done. You just try to adapt them to what suits it best for everybody involved. Because if I was to try to change 15 years of her training, 10 years of her training, or even 5 years of her training, that would be a very long process, but I don't have to do anything. All I'm doing is tweaking her. She's very coachable and very talented. So, but we're at the very early stages, so time will tell, but we're at the very early stages and it's been nothing but easy peasy, lemon squeezy for me.
Of course. And in everything that you've done teaching throughout the last few years, do you kind of feel like you have a certain training or teaching style that you have found to be most effective when trained? Or I feel like it might vary too, dependent on the person.
Well, it varies on if somebody comes in and says, hey, we got a match in 2 months and we're just going to do like a guest star appearance thing, then it would vary. But I do have I have a foundation. I teach a foundation, your basics. you can, with that foundation, you can put, like I explained it, it's like a cement slab with like really sturdy block walls, and you can put any kind of roof on you want. If you want a tile roof, or you want a leaf roof, you want a palm roof, whatever kind of roof you want, your foundation will support it, you know. So I do teach, I spend a lot of time on footwork and basics, because I believe a foundation could carry you anywhere in wrestling, whether you're a luchador or a brawler or a high flyer, whatever it is that you want to do, or your personality is. I'm going to give you that foundation to carry you through, to support it. So you can survive in any kind of way. Even with no experience, you'll be able to survive with a foundation. With her, I'm mixing it up with her. She's a little different because she probably has a match soon. I'm not sure, but like, it seems that way. And so I spend like an hour on basics and an hour on something she might need in that particular match. But she really wants to learn the basics, but she's picking it up so quick that she's just like, piling on. But no, I usually stick to a certain set of training, you know.
Makes sense too. Got to have that foundation. It lays out the rest of everything.
All about a foundation and footwork.
Of course. And I mean, of all the students you've trained, or maybe even just from watching their work, who are some people you think maybe more people should be taking notice of today?
Well, Jacob Fatu was probably, I've trained a lot of Samoans, but he's probably the most talented one I've trained. Not to put the other ones down, but he's just well-rounded with everything from footwork to strikes to the high-flying ability. There's a student now that people might not have heard of yet, but they will. He's going to go to one of the companies at some point, Damian Fenrir. He's a tremendous athlete. And then there's Lakai. He's a French Creole. He's a Haitian wrestler, and he's just a tremendous talent too. But two of those will be the breakout guys. I believe Ruthie J will be one of the breakout girls out of the schools and stuff like that. So
I'm super excited for the future of professional wrestling. Of course, under your guidance, they're going to succeed.
I've overlooked one of my favorites, and I feel so bad I've overlooked Jay Vidal. I don't know if you've seen or run across him yet, but he's another one of mine that I'm super, super proud of. And that he's breaking barriers, and he's kicking down walls. He's really, really doing well, and he's coming into his own. So.
Of course. I mean, they're under your guidance, so of course they're going to succeed.
They had to have something, you know. You can give them a foundation, but you can't give them that, you know. They got to go out and do it, you know.
Yeah. And of course, like I said, we got you today in your Fangin' and Bangin' studio. And so, I mean, I'm very curious too, how do you manage to stay informed on professional wrestling programming and news between your hectic schedule to be able to cover it on Fangin' and Bangin'?
Well, don't tell anybody, but I just listen to the dirt sheet.
Fair enough.
No, I listen. I try to watch it. It's very hard. Like today, I was just talking about. I said I didn't watch any wrestling. I mean, I think I caught 2 matches from AEW. I caught the Hardys debut, and I think I seen when Scorpio Sky worked Warlow or something in AEW. Yeah. But I generally watch matches when I do cardio, like MLW. I end up watching all the time. So, but all the current wrestling, I just get so lost. It's just so much to keep track of. And when I'm in a ring Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I have to kind of watch everything from MLW on, you know, back and forth, because these students are coming in. These kids off the street, I need to know where their mind frame is, their mindset. And plus, I'm wrestling with somebody different every weekend. I'm out there on the road, so I need to stay current, but it is tough and it is really hard. But as far as like results and this and that, I'll listen to a lot of like different certain sites and stuff. I'll just hear the results and go, okay. And if something piques my thing, I better go back and watch this program, and then I'll go back and look it up. But for the most part, I just watch a lot of wrestling when I'm doing cardio.
Yeah, the internet is a very lovely thing because there's so much programming. It's hard to be able to catch up on it all, even like just going through social media too. There's clips, online places too, and there's results too. I find that easier for myself too as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I hear something, I'm like, wait a minute, like I got to go check that out. Then I'll go research it down. But yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Hardys too. I'm so glad you bring that up because some of the wrestlers that you've been able to work with.
Looks like Jeff Hardy behind you.
It is Jeff Hardy. Yes. Of course, some of the wrestlers that you've been able to work with throughout the years, like Edge, Christian, and the Hardys, are still going very strong today. So do you kind of maybe have any specific memory? We'll go with the Hardys since we're talking about them. Do you have any specific memories that you'd like to share about your time maybe working with or being around the Hardy Boys?
Yeah, well, a lot of people ask me, what was your favorite brood, the new brood or the old brood? But I always say, well, the old brood. I go, well, brood with Christian and Edge, because for one, it was the original, but we were working the Hardys and we had a program with the Hardys. Always loved wrestling the Hardys. I love personally wrestling Matt Hardy, like, because he's a thumper. He'll get in there, he'll mix it up, he'll catch you with a left right in the eye. You know, Matt Hardy, he's a little bit harder than people think, you know, and tough, a little tough. And so always enjoyed wrestling the Hardys, you know, like I don't know what a lot of stories we have. I just know that I remember the Beer Wolf. I call him the Beer Wolf. Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes would he would drive those poor guys crazy. So like I hope that I didn't drive Christian Edge is crazy as Michael Hayes drove the Hardys crazy. You know, like with his old school banter and all this stuff. It's my dime. It's my time and stuff like that. But they were just great guys. I've known them since, I don't know, like they were 16 or something, or 17, 16. I think we're all floating around. Doing extra work and different stuff for like WWF whenever they came to the South and whatnot. So I've known them a long time. They're just tremendous guys. Jeff's super laid back. Matt's more always intense about the business stuff and all that, but they're tremendous guys. And I'm super, super, super happy for them. And I'm wrestling them coming up, not sometime soon. I'm working somewhere in Virginia, somewhere. I think it's me and Joey Janela versus the Hardys.
That's going to be exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think they're calling us the new brood or something. I don't know what it is.
I mean, there's the term like slang, like that's the new. That's
So
the
it's
old
new
new
brood versus the new brood or the old brood. I don't know. It's a little confusing, but it sounds like a fun match.
The new brood versus the Hardy Boys. Looking forward to that one too. And
I think it's the day after MLW's Philly. MLW's in Philly on the 13th, so I think it's the 14th in Virginia.
Okay, that's going to be something to look forward to, of course. And to close things out, of course, we mentioned Edge and Christian, who reunited at the Royal Rumble last year. But this year, a lot of hope was that you would return to the 2022 Royal Rumble to complete that trifecta, and maybe happen considering that the Brood's entrance had been utilized with Edge and all of that. So were you even contacted or hopeful for a 2022 Royal Rumble appearance? I have been dying to ask you this.
No, I would talk to Edge, and he would tell me that he didn't believe Vince McMahon believed people would remember the Brood, let alone myself. You know, like he's very like set on certain things. So he told me he had to work like 2.5 months to get the music, to be able to do a brood bath, not a blood bath, because the networks wouldn't have blood. Yeah. So he did that for 2.5 months, and he said he was trying to work it all out, but that he could barely get all that to go. But he said he did it to pay homage to the Brood and myself and all that. And he was super happy about it. And then when I told him, yeah, well, he was like so excited to tell me on like that Monday. And I go, well, it costed me. I was supposed to do AEW on that Wednesday. They were going to do the whole entrance and everything, but it just trended so much that what was it, Friday and Sunday for the pay-per-view, that they were just like, forget it. Like, so that was a bummer one way, but in another way, it was just great to see Adam Edge come out to that and then it cut and go to his music. It was just really, really cool. And I was super happy for him and honored and flattered.
We wish that you could have completed the trifecta at the Royal Rumble this year. I think that would have been such a full circle thing, because we saw Edge and Christian last year, and of course bringing back the Brood entrance and all of that. But I know logistics is a whole other thing. Well,
here's the good news. You can catch me in MLW whenever they're in your town coming up. So Dallas are coming up at Gillies. Looking forward to seeing them both nights out there. That'd be awesome. And I think they got a special too, MLWtickets.com. You can get $10 tickets for that show. So come on out and say hello, and let's do some fanging and banging together. Not like mumbling my own catchphrases up there.
It's okay. It's hard to say got that fanging and banging. There you go. Although you don't got your fangs in today, so.
Yeah, I'm used to doing them with fangs. I almost put them in for you, but I didn't want to weird you out early in the morning.
Nah, it's okay. It's all good here. But Gangrel, before I let you go, can you please tell the people where they can find you online and all of that good stuff?
I'm not even sure what my Facebook is. I think it's Gangrel David. It's Gangrel David E. They're Gangrel 13 on Instagram. Facebook's Gangrel David E. Gangrel 13, something like that. Or you can just check out MLW stuff to see what's going on with me, or CCW where I'm training at. You can follow all the stuff at Coastal Championship Wrestling. So either one of those spots, or my Facebook or Instagrams, or Gangrel 13 on Twitter, I believe, or I don't know. It's either Gangrel 13 or Gangrel David. One or the other, you can't go wrong.
Of course, and check out Fangin' and Bangin' too for all the scoops.
Oh, yes, of course. Fangin' and Bangin' with Gangrel. You might be disappointed, but check it out.
No, I've listened to a few episodes. You got it down. And of course, you gotta really, I'm honestly jealous of your studio.
Oh yeah, no, the dude Raymond, man, he's got it all hooked up. Got candles. You can't even see the candles. We forgot to put the candles out. They're burning on. We always got ambiance. You know.
There you go.
There you go.
But thank you so much for chatting with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right. Thank you for having me.